Isn't it every golfer's dream to have a silky smooth golf swing that hits the golf ball a long way? Fred Couples, Ernie Els both come to mind. Both effortless, powerful looking golf swings. Well, in this golf swing lesson, I'm going to give you a golf swing tip on how you can hit the golf ball longer with both your irons and driver by slowing down your golf swing. How, you might be thinking? Let me explain. If you want to hit the golf ball further, then you have to be aware that you have to get all the power out to the end of the golf club, the club head end. Now that might sound obvious, but I see so many golfers on a daily basis not doing this right. And what I mean by slowing down your golf swing to hit the golf ball further, the part of the golf swing that I'm talking about is your hands and your hand speed. In the golf swing, your hands are going to be moving at a different speed throughout. And ideally, we want at the start of your golf swing to start fast, then they slow down, then they speed up, and then they slow down back to impact. And let me show you this. I've got my bag towel here. Watch this. I'm going to roll it up a little bit, like you used to do when you were younger and you had that annoying sibling, you want to give them a good whip on the leg to get them away from you. Roll a towel up, do this yourself, kitchen towel, bag towel, whatever it might be. I'm going to move my hand as fast as I can towards this camera and see if I get any whip or crack. Nothing. 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 And that is moving my hand as fast as I can towards that camera. Now, if I start to apply some brakes, I go as fast as I can towards this camera, apply some brakes, slow my hand down, and then start to put it back towards me. That's where I'm going to get the energy out towards the end of this towel and get that whip. Whoa! My sibling does not want to be near me now when I've got this movement going on. Yeah, you get away, you annoying sister. So that slowing down of my hand, putting the brakes on and then pulling that energy back, pushes all that energy out towards the end of the towel in that example. And that's what you need in your golf swing too, to get that energy out towards that club head, to speed up your club head speed and hit that golf ball further. Again, with both irons and driver. So how do we do it? This relates to so many golf videos that I do. And it starts from the start. Too many golfers start too static. So with long hitters of the golf ball, they're moving their hands fast at the start of their swing, like I said a moment ago. Whereas golfers that I see day-to-day basis, standard go over the golf ball, dead static, and then they take the club head back really slow. Then they get fast at the top, and then they're all out of sync, can't slow the club head down at the right time, and that's where they lose their club head speed and power. Longer hitters of the golf ball, they're moving that club head fast at the start of their swing. They're getting ready. They're moving around on the spot. They're athletic. I've talked about this so much before in my golf videos before. And if you're a regular viewer, you'll know that. So getting athletic, ready to start, to take that club head fast at the start of your backswing, to then slow your hands down at the top of your swing, and then you're going to speed them up. You want your maximum hand speed to be around this area. Arm parallel to the floor or shaft parallel to the floor. This sort of bracket, this sort of window. And you would have seen the split hand drill that Rory McIlroy does. Hands, one at the top of the grip, one at the bottom of the grip. Swing to the top and try and bend that shaft as much as you can as you get to that area of that fastest hand speed. Do it with driver, you'll get loads more bounce in the shaft. That's the sequence that we want to get. And now we need to learn how to put on the brakes once we've sped up our hand speed on this downswing to this important area. How do we now slow it down to get that speed out to the club head? That is now how you're using the ground and pushing against the ground to slow those hands down. Think about it. If I'm running in a direction, I want to change direction. I am going to push in the ground hard to then move the opposite way. And that is the same as the golf swing. As I'm swinging down with my fast hand speed, all of a sudden, I'm now going to put the brakes on. And you'll see this loads, especially with my driver swing. My driver swing is 115, 120 on a good day, miles an hour clubhead speed. And you think, if my clubhead's swinging at 120 miles an hour and it's swinging through, I've got to now slow it down. Otherwise, I'm going to let go of it. I've got to slow that club down and start pulling back on it. And once I've got my hand speed up to its maximum speed here, now I'm going to start applying the brakes. And that is pushing in the ground with my lead foot. I push in the ground, that starts to push back. That now slows my hands down and puts the energy out towards the end of that club. And there's where you get your highest clubhead speed. And then after that, I'm going to keep on slowing it down. People who don't push in the ground properly are going to be leaking power and those potential distances that you want to be hitting. Great feeling for both of these things. The fast hands down to sort of parallel to the floor and starting to apply the brakes. Up to the top, fast hands and pushing the ground at the same time. So you're kind of squatting into the ground with fast hands. Get that feeling? Push down, fast hand. Push down, fast hands. Push down, fast hands. And then once you've done a few of those, swing through with that feeling as well. And there you'll start to see how my head starts to move backwards as I'm hitting this golf ball. To start slowing my hand speed down to get that energy out towards the end of the club head. If you want to start measuring these sorts of things, there's loads of devices out there now that measure hand speeds. You've got mobile apps as well that are doing it. You've got watches that are doing it. Go and see what your hand speeds are, where you get to your peak hand speed, and then if you're slowing it down fast enough by the time you're at impact. Honestly, you'll transform how far you hit the golf ball with these sorts of feelings. Slower hand speeds means more distance. Let me know in the comments, is hand speed something that you've ever thought about in your golf swing? Is it something that you've ever tried to change in your golf swing? I'm not going to say that this is easy. It definitely isn't easy to change this, but if you do, like I said, you're going to increase that clubhead speed and start hitting that golf ball a lot further. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you're enjoying the videos and the content, make sure you're hitting that big red subscribe button, hitting the thumbs up as it helps the channel, and turn your bell on so you get notified of when I upload all my new videos. Mr. Ground Force Reactions, Steve Furlonger.
Hello.
You've got 3 common mistakes that you see in amateur golfers, which is stopping them from hitting their longest drives.
Yes.
What are they?
So I'm going to start from the beginning. So we do a setup,
okay.
Then we're going to do a backswing, and then we're going to do a downswing. So these are the most common errors that I see. And we start with setup.
Okay.
I see very narrow stances, which, chip in, narrow with irons. But when we've got this thing, the longest club in the bag, think of where our feet are relative to our middle of our body. If our feet are directly under the middle of our body, these ground reaction forces are just going up through me, right?
Yeah.
But if I can move my feet further away from my center, now these forces are further away from me, which are going to aid my ability to move. So big wide stance, and you can, grab your driver and look at the length of your driver and kind of get your trail foot past the middle of the shaft.
Okay.
Yeah. That's wider. That's going to give us that base that we need, but more importantly, it allows us to force the ground further away from our middle of our body.
Okay. You talked about the shaft there as an example. If you went body, like lots of people go shoulders, like are you going wider?
Yeah, I like to see the shoelaces on the outside of my shoulders there, or outside of what would be my
Can they go too wide?
Shoulders. There is a point of diminishing return. If I do the splits, I'm going to struggle. So I think it's one of those you've got to trial and error.
Yeah.
Through trial and error, find the stance width, which is a bit wider, which gives you the most speed. And we know that that will affect your ground reaction forces, certainly from the amount, but importantly, the time of those forces when you're timing them.
Backswing.
Okay, so not a lot of people know this, but the arms work in two planes across the body. And keep it nice and simple.
Okay.
The arms work across,
Yeah.
and the arms work up. Okay, most people are very good at getting the arms across the body.
Yes.
They're actually really bad at getting the arms off the body, so they struggle to get the arm speed across, so they tend to stay stuck and across. And we see juniors and ladies getting super open with their lower body to deliver the club from behind them as the arm's stuck. Okay, so understanding what you do across needs to get back out again. Okay, but the second plane that the arms move in, vertical.
Yep.
And not enough golfers get the arms working up enough.
Fine.
So we will increase the length of the hand path, not only around and across, but up. And we know fact that the longest golfers, the professional long drivers that hit it obscene distances into neighbouring counties.
I love that you're using Bryson's driver.
I've got my crank here, get maximum out. Nothing against any other manufacturers, right? But this thing goes a bit further for me. It works for me. But you know, you've got to get that high hands.
Fine.
Yeah, and that's not by bending the arms and making the arc smaller or more narrow.
Yeah.
It's keeping that length of arc and width of arc, and we're getting up as far. Now that would give you maximum speed. We've got to be careful. We talked about sustainable, responsible speed.
Yeah.
So let's not overdo things. Again, trial and error, a little bit higher with the arms to help you deliver a consistent speed, and then you can then self-organize and find the center of the face.
Is there something that they can sort of, if they were videoing themselves from here in a golf setup and everything and did a backswing, would you want to see their, like I'm going to put my finger above your head here, where do you want their hands? Like
so
above your head?
I want the hands to go higher in relation to the head.
Fine.
So you'll find everyone is good at getting them sort of by their trail ear there, right? But they're not very good at getting them higher than that.
Fine.
Okay. So allowing the hands and the arms to work more up the body, and then we've got speed down the body and speed across the body.
Yeah.
We've got two types of two speed levers that we've got working down and across.
Rather than just the one.
Rather than the one, which doesn't actually always get out, because they're not very good at getting it back out from across the body.
Downswing, number 3.
The third. So shift pressure to the lead foot as fast as possible. Okay?
Okay.
Now, the fastest on the planet that I've measured are long drivers.
Go on.
The second fastest are tall players. They both move and shift their pressure to their front foot the fastest.
At what time are they doing that?
So they're leveling out their pressure amongst their feet, between their feet at top of backswing.
Okay.
So they load that trail foot.
Yeah.
They then rise up and get light and tend to then recenter their pressure around top of backswing.
Yeah.
And then quickly get it to that lead side into the downswing, early downswing, because we want to be peaking those forces primarily downwards through that lead foot by around shaft vertical with a driver. It can be a bit later with iron. Okay, so that's fine, but around there is what we're looking for with driver. So we've got to get across really quickly and down really quickly. So shift your pressure to your front foot really quickly and then work up through the front foot. Don't shift it forwards to the front foot and reverse back. Shift it into the front foot, and then the ground reaction force will aid the body's motion to move up and away from it.
It's one of the most common ones that I see all the time in my lessons. Amateurs that aren't hitting the ball crisp, like lower handicaps, like you say, tour pros, long drivers. This is such a big gap between them, isn't it?
Big gap.
Like
I would say long drivers are doing it in speed, double the speed in meters per second than even what I would say slower pros, let alone recreational gophers. It's almost like they're just cruising along and they've got all.
Like if you go with like the graphs on force plates and stuff, it's a cliff, isn't it?
Yeah.
The fast ones, bang,
across really, really quickly.
Yeah.
Maximum intent of getting your force forwards into the balls of your lead foot as quick as you can in your downswing. And trust me, and then it almost looks like, and I mean, the great Gary Player, he won the 1978 Masters, the year I was born, actually with a step over drill with his back foot stepping over his front foot.
Go on.
So stepping over like that.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can go on YouTube, search it, 1978 Masters, Gary Player, up that way, stepping through and then coming back and balancing. So that step forward drill meant that even back then, you know, talking in the 70s, that the best players on the planet then and some of the longest on the planet were showing that. They were doing it without measuring it with these amazing force plate systems that we've got. So we've shown you obviously some of the training aids I use. If you use a force pedal, then you can then apply the pressure on the right part of the foot and certainly know when a feel from proprioception standpoint, feel when you're applying the most pressure into your lead foot. If you can, get yourself to a golf pro who's measuring, and then you can measure your ground reaction forces and your timings, but get onto that lead side as quick as you can. You're going to absolutely love the results of it.
There you go. 3 common mistakes from the ground reaction force guru himself. Thank you for your time, Steve.
Thank you, Matt.
How often do you see this? Pretty standard drive, slicing off to the right. Speed, 131 mile an hour ball speed, 90 mile an hour clubhead speed. That might be quick for some of you golfers out there, but we want more, don't we? Effortless power comes before you even start taking that golf club away. Now you're thinking, what? How does that even work and make sense? Well, there are exceptions to the rule, to this golf drill, by the way. Lee Westwood, for an example, and we'll come back to that in a minute. But golfers that don't hit the golf ball very far and don't maximize their distance and speed is because you're not being athletic. You stand there at the start of your swing, dead still, and then start taking the club back. So to increase speeds and distances that you hit the golf ball, we need to be pushing in the ground. Short hitters of the golf ball don't push in the ground hard enough, number one. And when they do push in the ground, it's generally too late. And especially in vertical force, so how you're pushing out the ground and unweighting your body from the ground. So generally speaking, when I teach and I'm on force plates, what I see is that people will start pushing in the ground far too late, hit the golf ball, and then they'll start pushing out. And it's because you don't start this effortless power before you start your golf swings. So what you'll see on the TV, if you're watching golf, any pros out there on the TV this weekend, have a look and see what they're doing. They'll be wiggling around. They'll be wiggling their club. They'll be pushing from side to side like I'm doing here. Now, you might not see much of that, but I am pushing in my lead foot, then my right foot. Bang, 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 bang. I'm like getting ready to push in this side to then take the club back. Whereas lots of golfers that struggle with distance and don't hit it very far, you're so static. You're like this, thinking, I don't want to lose this golf ball. Let's be safe. Let's not do anything wrong. Oh no, I've topped it. Oh no, I've sliced it. If you're going to hit it in the trees anyway, or top it, you might as well top it as far as you can, or hit it in the trees as far as you can. So what I want you to do is literally, and you don't even have to hit golf balls to do this, you have to get this built into your golf swings. And when I do it with my students, they find it hard at first to get the timings right. They'll be pushing in the ground and then they'll push in their back foot and try and take the club away. We want to push in your front foot, so you're about to pull something. Like if I had a big weight on the floor here, I would push into the ground and pull it. That's the sort of feeling that I want you to get. I want you to pull your handle back. Pull it back by pushing in that front foot. And as hard as you can. Basically, it will feel weird to start with, but you might have to build it up. Start off small, just tap that front foot in the ground really lightly and take the club back. Then start building it up. Push harder, push harder, push harder, push harder. And you'll start seeing that effortless power. Like if I do my normal golf swing, I'm bouncing around, look, bouncing around, bouncing around, bouncing around, boom, boom, boom. I'm 70 kilograms, I think. I'm not that heavy, I'm not very big, and I'm swinging at 120 miles an hour. So it's bounce, bounce, bounce. I'm bouncing around, I've got some motion, I'm going, 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 and then I'm gonna push, and I can still hold my finish. I'm not all out of control, and I'm gonna hold it. Oh, it's gonna miss right, isn't it? It's a line ball though. Look at that. Woo! It looks effortless, but I've done all of the hard work at the start of my swing to get my verticals in the right spot, my horizontal forces, my torques all in the right spot. Think about your club head being a massive heavy weight and you want to pull it up and out of the ground. See how I'm starting to pull my club head this way? I'm pushing in the ground with my balls of my lead foot, and that's going to really start increasing that pressure to push it onto this side, which then you can start pushing this way a lot earlier, in the ground a lot earlier, and out of the ground a lot earlier. Too many golfers are static at the start of your swings. Get moving, be an athlete. Think about a goalkeeper, super simple analogy. If they want to save a penalty, they are not glued to the floor. They are bouncing either side. I've used that analogy before. So think about that when you're about to hit your golf shot. It's not just with driver. I'm doing this with irons as well. Effortless power. I guarantee you, even the sexiest swings out there, Ernie Els, Fred Couples, those sorts of players, they silky smooth swings, haven't they? But I promise you, they'll be pushing in the ground at the start of their swing, pushing in the ground hard on the way down. Louis Oosthuizen, another great one. People think that he's got super smooth rhythmic swing, but look at him at impact. He's up on his toes like this. Incredible power and speed, and that's what you need to add into your golf swings. Little bounces, lift the heels up if you want to start with, bump, 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 bump. Even lift like long drivers of the golf ball. They're lifting their feet off the ground. You don't have to go to that extreme. We just need to feel a little push in that front foot before you take that club back. It's really going to help with synchronizing of your golf swings. It's really going to help with timings of those pressures. And it's going to make that power increase and hopefully get that effortless power that you're all after. Push, 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 push in the front foot and then go push. Little bit toey that one, but still hopefully going to catch the edge of the green. Let me know in the comments down below if this simple golf tip helps you create that effortless power that so many golfers are after. Hitting that golf ball longer is going to get you down the hole a lot further. You're going to have less club into the green. Proximity with shorter clubs is going to be tighter, lowering your scores. I promise you, something as simple as this, getting your golf swing to start even before you think about taking that club back, is going to help with that effortless power. Now, this simple golf tip requires an extra bit of equipment. One sec. It's one of these, a little foot wedge. You can get them on Amazon, super cheap and super beneficial. I've even done an iron drill using this. So I'll pop that up in the corner here. Make sure you go and check out that video to help you strike your irons better as well. But for this one, we're hitting our longest and straightest golf drives, aren't we? So what I want you to do with this foot wedge is pop it in front of the golf ball. So it looks like a little ramp in front of your ball. And I want you to place it a couple of driver head widths in front. So not right up to the edge of the golf ball, because you'll probably end up hitting the foot wedge. I want it a couple of club heads in front of the golf ball. And there are different iterations to this as well. This foot wedge is going to help encourage you hit up on the golf ball. High wafty slices of the golf ball that don't hit the golf ball very far tend to be steep on the golf ball, over the top, slicing across it, big out to in paths, angle of attacks that are down, all things that are going to increase spin, reduce distance. So if you had this in front of you and you do that swing, you're likely to clobber it with your driver. So we want to miss this foot wedge. Now, what I want you to do, first of all, is not hit any golf balls. So we're going to knock that ball off our tee and just try and understand where our low point needs to be to make that club start moving up so we miss the foot wedge. And you can do this, play around with your ball positions, but the whole point is to understand that your low point needs to be in front of this foot wedge rather than on top of it. This is going to help us increase launch. It's probably going to help us lower that spin rate. Hitting up on the golf ball isn't just going to reduce spin. It depends on what loft you deliver to the golf ball as well, and that's something called spin loft. So maybe let me know in the comments down below if you want me to do a video on spin loft. I've probably already got one on my channel. If I do, I'll pop it in the description down below. This drill is just going to help you hit up on that golf ball. So we've done a few little swings at first to try and make sure that our club is moving up by the time it gets to that foot wedge, and that will be depending on a few things. Ball position being slightly forward in your stance is going to help move that low point back and then start hitting up on that golf ball. Where your head is in relationship to the golf ball impact. Slicers of the golf ball tend to have their head, their upper body charging towards the target, which then gets their armpit, which is basically where the low point of this arc is going to be, too far ahead of the golf ball, hitting down and across. So maybe think about where your head position is. Try and keep it behind the golf ball when you're hitting it. Again, helping the angle of attack move up. Generally speaking though, when I do this with my students, I don't have to tell them what they need to do. They work it out themselves, and that's what's great about putting an obstacle in the way to try and make you work things out by yourselves. Let's give it a go. Really picturing my club working up that foot wedge, which is going to increase that angle of attack. Stop hitting down on your drivers. Fast players, now you can possibly hit slightly down, but the shorter hitters out there trying to hit longer, you definitely want to be hitting up on the golf ball. So let's see, what can I get my angle of attack to? Let's go really extreme. Whew. 4 up, very, very nice, and an absolute bomber. That green's out there at 300, woohoo! So automatically that's making me move in a way to get my angle of attack up. Now my angle of attack's normally 1 up, so that wedge is making my angle of attack even more up, 4 up, which I'm really happy with. And that's what's so simple and great about this foot wedge. Now, if you're a slicer of the golf ball and you want to change your path as well with this, along with your angle of attack, do this with your foot wedge as well. So again, the foot wedge is a couple of club heads in front of the golf ball. But what I want you to do is push your foot wedge out to the right and point it to the right of your target. And I want your club to try and swing up that foot wedge again. So instead of now over the top, cutting across it moves, hitting down on the golf ball, we are now trying to get our club to move up that foot wedge and out to the right, changing our angle of attack and changing our path. If you do this and you still slice it and it starts further right and goes even further right, you need to sort your face to path out. And I've got loads of videos on that as well. So go and check those out in the comments down below. No, in the description down below. Same thing now. I need that club to move out there and up. Okay, setting myself up. Can I move my path more into out and hit out? That last one was 1 out to in. So let's see if I can get my path in to out as well now. Started further right. I did toe it, it's trying to draw back, but I feel like that path is more into out as well. Oh, bombers. Angle of attack, 3 up, path, 4 into out. boom, changed my angle of attack and my path simply by where I've positioned that foot wedge as well. So cheap online. I'll even maybe put a link of it in the description, but just type foot wedge into Amazon or somewhere like that and you'll find plenty of them. Really cheap, really simple way to change your angle of attack, start hitting longer drives, and hopefully those straighter ones too. Think about your face to path and your loft delivery as well. This is just concentrating on that angle of attack and maybe a bit of path in there as well. I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments down below how you get on with this drill. You don't have to buy a foot wedge. You could just literally pop an empty golf ball box in front of your golf ball. Anything that's going to help you hit up on that golf ball. But don't put something like a rock or something in front of it, because you'll probably end up wrecking your drivers. Like many of you golfers down that lens, I'm always searching for ways to hit longer and straighter golf drives. As a rule, the longer you hit driver, the lower your handicap's going to be. So it's super important to hit your driver as far as possible, and this might sound mad, but let the fairway get in the way as much as possible too. I visited Foresight Europe recently to do some testing with these two drivers. Now, they're identical apart from one thing. Can you spot it? Comment down below what you think the difference is. And whilst you're down there, if you're new to the channel, hello and welcome. If you're a returning viewer, hello again. Little reminder for you all, if you're not subscribed to the channel and you enjoy the content, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up as it helps the channel out, and turn your bell on so you get notified of when I upload all my new videos. So, did you spot the difference? There's only one thing, and will that one thing help you hit longer and straighter golf drives? Let's find out. The answer: shaft length. One is standard length at 45.75 inches, and the other is shortened by an inch to 44.75 inches. I posted on my socials a while ago asking people what they thought would be the difference between a shorter shafted driver and a standard length. And these were some of the comments that I got back. Lower swing speed, hopefully better strike resulting in similar distance but better accuracy. No difference, better strike. Surely results will differ for almost everyone. So plenty of ideas on what might happen when you shorten your driver by an inch. Well, I've tested it. Let's find out what the difference is. Like I've mentioned already, I headed to Foresight Europe to do some testing, and at the end of the day, I had blisters all over my hands because I hit so many drivers. Won't be doing this test again. And I measured all head data and all ball data and then sent it to my stat man. And we're gonna go straight into it. These were the results. Let's do the big one first, distance. These are my carry numbers of both drivers. The pink dots is the short length driver, the blue dots is the standard length driver. On the graph, you'll see two black dots. These are the carry distance averages of both driver. And on average, the shorter driver carried 5.6 yards less than the standard length driver. And statistically speaking, the stats man is pretty confident that that difference is meaningful. Working out what different actually means rather than just going, it's 5.6 yards shorter, that's different. It gets a bit more complex to that. You have to work out ranges, take away outliers, find what the true population mean is. And I'll put a little comments box down here where hopefully it explains how we worked out the statistical difference. As, like I say, it can be a little bit confusing. But the main thing to take away from this is that the difference of 5.6 yards on average is a meaningful difference. And this is where it gets even more interesting, because if we look at ball speed and clubhead speed, both were close to being different. They weren't statistically different. Now, that doesn't mean that they were the same. We just didn't have enough data to be certain of a difference. Which got me thinking, surely if ball speed and clubhead speed are that close, surely I can get that short shafted driver to go just as far as the standard length one. And if we take a look at the spin, the short shafted driver was spinning on average 290 revs per minute more. Now remember, I set these two drivers up identically apart from length. If I brought the driver loft down a little bit, so decrease in spin loft, that would bring that spin down. And because that ball speed and club head speed are so close to being similar, if I change the loft of that short shafted driver, which then brought the spin down, they would go the same distance, which I think is super interesting and again shows the importance of getting fitted for your golf clubs. Strike between the two clubs, the shorter length shaft was hitting the toe a little bit more, but did have a slightly tighter dispersion on that strike compared to the standard length, which was a bit more spaced out. The toe strikes of that shorter shaft could also have had an influence on accuracy. And when we look at accuracy, the short driver was nearly 7 yards on average more offline. Again, something that I find really interesting. Finally, strokes gain numbers. There was no difference whatsoever between the two clubs. Is that the most important thing about this test? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. So really interesting, like many of you down that lens at the start when commenting, thinking that you might swing slower, you might lose some speed, those kind of ideas. The data actually says otherwise. And I asked my stat man if he was to put one in my hands out the two, he said it's totally down to you and feel, which I thought was super interesting. So if you are struggling with driver and you're searching for that bit of confidence, maybe the shorter shaft will help you. But again, these results, like I think someone did mention at the start, surely it's different for everyone. It might be different for you. You might be more accurate with the shorter shaft because your strike might get better and more consistent. You might gain ball speed again because that strike's more in the center of the face. You have to go and test yourself. So as good as this test was for me, knowing that I can literally pick whichever shaft length I want depending on how I'm feeling and how comfortable I am with either in each hand. For every golfer, it's going to be different. I think if you struggle with driver down that lens and it's a club that you just don't want to get out your bag because you're scared you're going to hit it off the planet, it might be a last resort rather than maybe go and have lessons as well, because that's a great idea to try to improve your driver. But shortening your shaft, again, I've had these weighted exactly the same and everything. So if you just cut down your shaft, it will be a different weight and those kinds of things. So just be careful if you go and chop an inch off. It could be the answer though for you down that lens if driver is something that you just can't get on with. Tip number one, and I see this regularly on a daily basis even in the lesson studio, and it's a lack of turn and mobility. Down the lens, if you've got a desk job, hit that like button, because this is so common for people with desk jobs. You sit at a desk all week, Monday to Friday, and then go and try and play your best golf at the weekend, but your body's just not ready for it. So when you get up to the golf course, get there a bit earlier and start warming up. That's not the tip, but I would do that definitely. You need to start turning your upper body. Now, I personally have a great amount of upper body turn, but I'm not so good with my lower half. And if you haven't seen my live video with Shaheen recently in LA, where I videoed a live golf lesson, I'll put it in the links and in the description down below. Go and check that out, because even though I've got a great amount of shoulder turn, I still wasn't using my lower half properly. And I fall into the desk category as well, because I'm at home editing a lot of the week as well. So I'm slouched over, not activating my muscles and things like that. So I want you to check that you're getting the right amounts of turn. Now, turning. I see loads of people locking their right leg out and limiting the amount of turn they get. I want you to start letting that straighten. Get that right hip back, which allows you then to turn your upper body loads more too. If you video yourself with a camera or in a window reflection, dead in front of you, I want you to see how much of your back you can start to see. Now, if you restrict that lower half, I probably won't be able to see much of my back in the mirror or in the camera, however you're viewing yourself. If I let this right hip go back, I can start to get a serious amount of turn with my lower body and my upper body. If I do it in this camera, let that hip ride back, look how much I can start to turn. This is extra power that you're just giving up. Get to the golf course before, start warming up, start adding this into your practice. Get that right hip turning back, going deep. Get that upper body turning loads more. Go out of your comfort zone and see how much yardage you can pick up. Set myself up. Big hip turn, big shoulder turns. Whoa. Over 300 yards. What? Tip number 2, and this is an extension on from turning more. So if you get to a limit where you think, oh, I can't go any more than that, but I feel like I want to do even more turn, allow yourself to lift that lead foot up. Nothing major, don't have to get it up onto its tiptoe, but this is also a little trigger for your downswing too. You'll see the long drivers out there doing this like crazy amounts. They even get their foot coming off the ground. But if you want a little bit of extra turn again, including that first tip, add this to it and you'll start to turn even more. So as you start to turn, let this heel, lead heel, whether you're left or right handed, your lead heel start to come up off the ground. So I turn my right hip nice and deep. I get my big shoulder turns. But if I start to lift my lead foot, look, I can start to go even more. And before we head into the last tip, tip 3, lifting that lead heel also helps on the downswing. On the downswing, you can crunch that into the ground, start pushing in the ground early. So once you get to the top, crush that heel back into the ground. That's going to get your vertical forces shooting up earlier in your swing, because generally speaking, most of my lessons that come in, probably 90% of them, all their vertical forces are too late in their swing. Tip 1, turn loads. Tip 2, get that heel coming off the ground a little bit and stomp it before you start that downswing. Get that vertical force shooting up, increasing that club head speed. Once you get that club head speed, that ball speed will start to come. 2 over 300, what? 5'8", 5'9", 70 kilograms. You got to be kidding me, haven't you? Tip number 3. Tip number 3 can be very tricky for lots of golfers because it's how much you slow your hand speed down in a downswing. So if your hand speed doesn't slow down enough, that's not going to allow you to release that golf club out to the golf ball with its maximum speed. And I say this is hard because I find this hard. I am a serial handle dragger and I don't let this club go enough. So what do? There's plenty of ways that you can do it, and you've probably seen like Rory do this, Rory McIlroy obviously, and it's a split hand drill. So you set yourself up, your lead hand goes in its normal position on the grip, your trail hand goes on the shaft, and what you want to do, swing to the top, and as you swing down you want to feel like you're firing and getting that head to bounce and that shaft to bend as much as possible. That's really going to make you feel like your hands are accelerating and slowing down fast, putting on the brakes to kick that club head out to the ball and increase that club head speed. A fun little training aid that I've got as well for lots of my lessons is the lag shot. Super whippy. How much can you make this thing bend? And it won't snap, I promise. Look at it go. Oof. But I'm really slowing my hands speed down and getting that club head out in front of me and increasing that club head speed. So if you feel like there's a few more yards left in you, and I am starting to sweat, get this hand speed to feel like it's slowing down on that downswing. And honestly, you'll get that club catching up loads more, getting that peak speed at impact rather than dragging it and having that top speed after that golf ball. Whoa. 70 kilograms, legs like twiglets, 300-yard drives. Again, there's no excuses, golfers. Come on, add those 3 tips into your golf game. Let me know what you're doing to try and hit longer golf drives and if it's helping. Tip 1, tip 2, add them together. Tip 3 can be hard, but add it to your game and you'll start to see those gains come into your golf drives. Enjoy. God, I need a rest. Hitting some longer golf drives. See you in the next one. So what are some of the common patterns that we see when it comes to mishitting driver and struggling to get that distance and that curvature right for those longer, straighter shots? And I done a video recently on why potentially I hit it a long way. I'll tag it in the corner, really popular video. And in that video, I talk about how to turn. And there were quite a few comments in that video about age, fitness and physique, flexibility that stops those golfers getting that turn, like possibly I do, to gain some speed, to hit that golf ball a long way with a driver. I promise you, this is so simple. We're going to give you a little golf swing hack to make turning in the backswing super easy. You might have already seen this drill before. I've even done it before in one of my videos, and I'll tag that in the corner here as well. And that video up there is more about trying to find which power source is best for you, but it is in that video, so check that one out too. And it's how you set up to the golf ball. And I've had it a lot in the comments for years. Matt, why are you aiming at the right? Matt, your feet are aiming miles right. You're always gonna hit it there. Well, if you take this golf swing tip onto the golf course after practicing it on the range, because you start hitting your driver so well, be prepared for those kind of comments. But luckily for this video, you'll now have the weapons to go, well, this is why I do it, and I'm hitting great shots. So maybe you should go and watch Coach Lockey's videos and try and improve your golf. How to set up to the golf ball with a driver to help you turn. And it's so simple. How much you do this is totally up to you in practice. Work out how much you need to do it, and then, like I say, go and take it out on the course if it improves your drivers, which hopefully it will. So basically, if you are struggling to turn from a standard setup, let's say a standard setup for most amateur golfers is parallel to your target line. So your feet line is parallel to your target line, or where your club face is basically aiming at the start of your swing. If you are struggling with turn, so getting this hip to turn back, which will then cause you to sway off that golf ball and get your pressures and weights way too far back. And then you struggle to get back to the golf ball, hitting blocks, hooks, big high slices. Then drop this trail foot back, and all of a sudden you open up a whole new world. I even do it when I'm going for a big one, trying to hit an absolute bomb. So I set up to the golf ball and then I just drop my right foot casually back, which then already starts to open these hips. If you didn't know, and I have been talking about this recently a lot in my videos, if you get to the top of your swing and you start to fire your hips open, that's gonna kick your hand path out, get your club really steep. Real common traits that you see with slices of the golf ball. People that struggle with gaining that distance that they want with driver, struggling with angle of attack issues, which is going to get that spin really high with driver, which is what you don't want to hit long and straighter drives. Presetting your stance slightly closed is going to help you set these hips a bit more open in that backswing, straight from the off. So I drop that right foot back, my hips start to open, and again, when I go for a longer bomb drive, if I'm on a par 5, I'll start to do this because, again, I want to get even more turn. As already I've got turn, but I want to get more turn. This is going to allow me to get my hips even further back. It's going to allow my hands to get deeper in that backswing. longer backswings, all the characteristics that you want to hit longer and straighter golf drives. I told you it's super simple, but honestly, it can be an absolute game changer. Set yourself up like you normally do to a drive, and when you're ready, just bring that foot, sneak it back a little bit. How much you want to do it, totally up to you. On the driving range, really experiment, drop it real far back, and then find a happy medium out on that golf course. So I've dropped my foot back. Matt, you're aiming right. I know. This is now going to allow me to really turn those hips, get these hands deeper. And now, if I really feel like I want to spin those hips, they're going to be more closed than what they would be if I turn them the same amount from my standard position and standard setup. So, opening them more on the way back, doing the same amount of turns on the way down is going to have a different impact on where your hips are aligned, which is going to have an impact on your hand paths, how that shaft starts to shallow in the downswing, and then you'll be able to start increasing that club head speed, hopefully, getting much better face to paths, club paths, getting that energy all in line to hit those longer and straighter golf drives. A little bit right, drawback, come on. And there you can see a completely different start direction. How simple is that to help you create an effortless turn in your golf swing? Simply drop that right foot back, that trail foot back. It's going to help you preset a bit more of an open hip turn. And then on the way down, if you still swing exactly the same on the way down, your hips aren't going to be as open. Your hand path's not going to kick as much out, allowing you to straighten out that path a little bit to gain some more face control and hopefully hit those longer, straighter golf drives. Let me know in the comments down below if this helps. Super simple golf swing tip to help you with your driver. So first things first, if you don't know, strike is king in golf. Where you hit the golf ball on the club face. These big sticks don't have a flat face. They're curved from heel to toe, and they're curved from the bottom of the face to the top of the face. And this one is what's going to change that spin rate. Hitting it low on the face is going to cause a high spin rate, and hitting it high on the face is going to lower that spin rate for you. Check this out. I'm going to hit one low on the face first. That one's spinning at 3,500 RPM. Now I'm going to try and put a similar swing on it, catch it higher on the face, and let's see what happens to the spin rate now. Swing speed on that one was a little bit quicker, but I didn't hit up as much on my angle of attack. And then if we head over to ball speed's a lot quicker, 165 miles an hour, because I'm hitting it in a much better spot. And look at that spin drop in, down below 3,000, around the 2.8 mark, and that's adding 30 yards of carry. So simply, if you want to lower your spin rate with your driver, where you hit it on the face is really important. Low on the face is going to cause that spin to increase and go up and lose you distance. Higher on the face is going to lower that spin rate and get you hitting it further. And something so simple to be aware of if you are striking it low on the face is just having a little play with tee height. Try teeing that ball higher and see if that gets that golf ball coming higher off the face and lowering that spin. It's super simple. You don't have to change your swing, and you can simply change where you're striking it on the face by playing around with your tee height. The second thing that's going to affect that spin with your driver and help you learn how to lower your spin rate is something called spin loft. Spin loft is created at impact with the golf ball, and it's the difference between the relationship of your angle of attack and the dynamic loft that you're delivering to that golf ball with your club. So if you're a golfer that struggles with a high spin rate, it's likely that you're going to have a very high spin loft. So let's go with super simple numbers. Let's say my angle of attack is 10 down with a driver. And believe me, I have seen 10 down with driver before. And people, if you want to start hitting it longer, make sure you're hitting up on the golf ball. But we're hitting 10 down on our angle of attack with our driver, and we're delivering 20 degrees of dynamic loft. Our spin loft, the difference between those two angles is 30 degrees, and that's going to create so much spin. Now, if we take it the other way, let's say that now our angle of attack is level to the ground. We're not hitting up, we're not hitting down, it's dead level, and we deliver 20 degrees of dynamic loft again. We now have 20 degrees of spin loft, which is going to bring that spin down. Now, if you go to extremes, long drivers, world champion long drivers that are swinging super fast, they have the ability to get their angle of attack and dynamic loft so close together, which is going to knock that spin down so much. But remember, they've got the speed that allows them to do it. And I know in the comment section down below, if I don't say this, there's going to be people saying, what's the perfect relationship? Well, it's different for every golfer and different speeds. Generally speaking, the slower swing speed golfer will want a little bit more spin on their drives to keep it in the air a bit longer rather than dipping out the air too quickly. Higher swing speed players have the ability to play with lower spin rates. And I'll put a chart up for you here. This chart isn't showing you the perfect spin loft that you need for your swing speed, but it is showing you the perfect launch conditions so you can get the most out of your drives, depending on swing speed. Use these wherever you are, whether you're at the driving range or you've got the ability to use a launch monitor. These are going to give you your optimal distances. And as I said before, when explaining spin loft, try not to have your angle of attack going down, people. Try and hit up on the golf ball. It's going to help you in the long run because most of you down that lens aren't going to be swinging that fast. Strike and spin loft. Two things which is going to help you learn how to lower that spin with driver. Now, this one, which you've all been waiting for, and which might go against all that you've ever thought about lowering spin with your driver. I had a lesson come into me the other day, which is what brought me to filming this video. Now, he had a slow swing speed. It was around 80, 85 miles an hour, really slow. And he was using a 9-degree driver. And to get that going up in the air, that player was trying to add loft to this driver, which then simultaneously opened the face, added too much loft, and made him hit this spinny high cut to the right with a ridiculous amount of spin. Like he was in the 4,000s consistently. Just like that one, 4,200 RPM. And this is what we did to change him. Like most of you down that lens probably think, if you want to reduce that spin loft, that relationship between your angle of attack and the dynamic loft you deliver, you go as low a loft as possible. Well, what we did was add as much loft as possible to his driver because luckily he had an adjustable driver. So what we did was add as much loft as possible to his driver. So for instance, mine is a 9-degree and now I've whacked that up to 11 degrees. Ugh. And because that golfer saw so much loft on his driver now, he then started to take loft off to keep that golf ball down rather than going, oh my goodness, I've got no loft on that. I need to get that golf ball up in the air, add that, open that face, add loft, high cutty wafters. He then saw that loft on his club face and thought, crikey, that's going to go a long way in the air. Right, what do I need to do now to take that loft off? Let's take that loft off, twist the club face in a different way, deliver handles a bit different, hit up on that golf ball, And look at that, I've managed to keep my ball speed up somewhere near where it normally would be. I've got a decent carry, and that spin rate is down to the 2,800 mark again. And that's where it's so important to understand, one, how to lower spin rate with your drivers. Where you strike it on the face, I definitely start with that. Then think about the relationship between your angle of attack and the loft that you deliver. And then think about your equipment. Maybe that one should even be first on the list. Are you using a club for your swing speed, which is just going to make you deliver that club in a way that's not functional? Like we did with this guy in my lesson the other day. Like I said, 80, 85 miles an hour with a driver, swing speed, 9-degree loft, trying to add that loft, end cuts across it, hits those wafters. We add as much loft onto his driver as possible, and all of a sudden he looks down at it and completely changes the way that he delivers that club, reducing that spin, adding distance, and going away with a massive smile on his face. I hope that helps you understand how to lower spin with your driver, which then will hopefully help you hit that golf ball further consistently out on the golf course. As we know, hitting it further down there is only going to help you hit more lofted clubs into the green, which is going to give you more control, closer proximity to lower those scores. How should the driver be sitting at address? Should it be flat on the floor like an iron? Should it be slightly toed up? Should it be even toed down? Let's talk about how this driver should be sat at address to help you hit longer and straighter golf drives. And also, one of the biggest mistakes that I see with driver at address, which could be causing you to hit big slices, losing distance, and not very good drives, because we want long and straight one. Like that. So let's take that one as the example. You can see here, my driver is toe up when I'm hitting the golf ball. So this is my dynamic lie, and I'm slightly toe up when I hit the ball. And because of the way drivers are designed, the way that we deliver the driver, this is how we need it at impact. And I also set up this way. So if you want to hit longer and straighter golf drives, you want to be checking your lie angle at address. You don't want this driver flat like you see iron shots. And we'll talk about why in just a minute. We want that toe of the driver toed up at address. And let's give you a tip straight away to make sure that you're in the right spot. Set yourself up like you're going to hit a golf shot. And wherever your club sits behind that golf ball, whether it's right behind the golf ball, whether you have a bit of space in between the ball and your driver, I want you to pop a tee down where the line of your face is on your target line. So the tip of that tee is on my target line and where the face is going to sit on the floor. Now, as I slide my driver in to get ready to set up to the golf ball, look at where that tee contacts the driver. It's in the middle of the club face. This is perfect for your start position, your setup position of driver to help you hit those long, straight drives. Now, pop your handle higher for me so you have your driver flat or even slightly toed down. Now push your club in the same way towards that tee and look where it contacts the driver, right on that toe. So that would be that your handle is too high at address. Now if we go the opposite way and have our handle really low and push that driver in, yep, you guessed it, that tee is going to be hitting way towards the heel. So when you set up to the golf ball, whether you're just at home now or practicing on the driving range, when you push that club into the ball to set up, we want that tee touching the center of that face. This is going to get our toe up in the air at address in a relatively standard stock position. How you do it, it doesn't matter. I'm one for gripping the club first and then getting myself in position. So I would get my club in my hands, wiggling it around so I know that my grip's in the right spot. And then just slide that driver up towards that ball around where I want the club to start and just check where that tee is touching the driver. Right, I'm in a good spot. Now, If you don't grip the club first, you can push that club up, check that you've got the right lie angle, and then get your setup around where that grip is. So I've pushed the club in. I know that it's at the right angle. It's not too high. It's not too low. And now I'm going to get my grip, my setup all around where that club was lying. Push it in. That's where I need my club to be. Get myself set up. Now I know that that toe's up in the air slightly, and hopefully once I get back to impact, that toe will be up in the air slightly as well. One of the biggest driver mistakes that I do see with this is having the handle way too high, because most people think, well, irons are flat on the floor, so should my driver. So they push that club and put that club down behind the ball, nice and flat, and that gets that handle ridiculously high. Second pattern that I see when people do this is that they grip the club again, like you've seen. I've pushed it in, I've got my club flat on the floor, and then I grip my club from there. This will get the grip of the club going right up the palm of your glove hand, your lead hand. Classic grip position for a slice, weak, high, wafty, woohoo, golf drives. It's so common. High handle, weak in the palm of your hand grip, which is going to open the face, make your path go massively out to him because you need to try and find target because of that open face. You're going to add loads of loft, going to hit shorter, wayward drives. The opposite way, handle being too low, I generally hardly ever see in my golf lessons. I rarely have to say you've got that handle way too low, and now that's going to probably make your grip really strong, and you're probably going to hit low and left shots. The most common driver mistake I see with this is that high handle, the club flat on the floor, hitting those weak shots to the right. So super simple way to check your lie angle is use that tee to push that club over the top of it and make sure that you're touching the middle part of your driver. If you are someone that likes to set up once you've got the club behind that golf ball, make sure that you're not gripping that club in the palm of your hand. You're getting it more in the tops of your fingers here. That'll give you a bit of a stronger grip. Control the face a bit better as well. Getting that toe of the club up in the air at address is going to only help the other parts of your setup. Arms hanging, nice postures, which again is probably going to help throughout your swing, give you better turns. Let that club release and catch up to hit those better golf drives. But I've got plenty of other videos on all those sorts of things, so make sure you check out my other videos on my channel. And once you've got that toe up in the air, that's going to help you deliver that club properly, so your dynamic lie is also a little bit toe up to help you hit longer and straighter golf drives. Give it a try if you're just at home now and you've got access to your driver. Set yourself up with a ball, put the tee down and just see where it touches the driver. Do it at the range, hit some shots. I've got the tee on the floor here. I'm going to set myself up, make sure that that tee is touching the middle of my club face to get myself ready, know that I'm in the right spot and hit some drives. In the comments down below, is this something you've ever thought about to try and help you hit better golf drives? If not, go and give it a try and let me know how you get on. Number one, I'm sure you all know, but plenty of my lessons slip back into this golf swing mistake. It's ball position. Ball position with your driver should not be the same as with your irons. Your ball position with driver should be heading up towards your lead foot. I like my ball position to be related to my left armpit, because where your left armpit is the longest radius of your golf swing, which means once you get to that point, your club's going to start working on the way up. Your angle of attack will move up. It will hit its low point at this point and then start moving up. And if you want to gain distance, you've got to get your angle of attack going up if you're a short hitter with not a lot of swing speed. PGA Tour averages, I know it used to be average 1 down with driver. LPGA Tour, I know it used to average 3 up. And average swing speeds on both those tours, PGA Tour are swinging a lot faster than the LPGA Tour. So basically, if you're a slower swing speeder trying to hit that golf ball further, we need you to get that angle of attack up. And that's what ball position, pushing it forward, will do to help gain those extra yards. Here's a simple way to get that ball position right every time. And add it into your pre-shot routine. When you set up to the ball, push that club behind the ball, check you're aiming in the right spot, and do it with your feet together. Now, tiny movement with your lead foot, big movement with your back foot. And now my ball position is pretty much somewhere around my lead armpit, maybe a smidge in front of it, especially by the time I've put my side bends in and tilts in, it's going to be ahead of it, helping my angle attack move up. If I quickly put my launch monitor on the floor here and hit one with my ball position forward, small step with my front foot, big with my back, set myself up. What a drive. There you can see my angle of attack is 3 up. Now if I push my ball position back more towards an iron swing, which I see lots of my lessons still doing, even though this is such a simple trick to add 20-30 yards to your drives, find it even hard to hit it from there. Now my angle of attack is 1 down. So there's tip and checkpoint number 1. Super simple, and a super simple way to set yourself up correct every time. Next tip. Tip number 2, after you've got your ball position in the right spot, my next simple tip to gain some extra yards, if you are a short hitter and need to hit this golf ball further, I want you to start thinking about your lead heel and letting it come up off the ground. You look at tour professionals now, back in the past, so many of them are lifting that lead foot off the ground. And I get it, so many people don't lift their lead foot off the ground because we're so nervous and so safe in golf. We don't want anything to go wrong, so we keep it as simple as possible, which as people come into my lesson bay, I see such limited rotation in the bottom half, which is where all this power is going to come from. And if you're limiting yourself, you'll start to see swings that just use the arms. As soon as you start using the arms, this lead arm comes right across your chest. From here, you start casting that club away from you, whereas good players are reaching as far away from them as they can and then squeezing this gap on the way down. Because you're trying to be safe and accurate possibly, you're causing yourself all sorts of problems here. Casting over the top, slicing, angles of attack going down, which is going to make you loads worse and lose so much distance. So let's start letting that lead heel come off the ground, ball position a bit forward, lead heel in the backswing, let it come up. Feel like you're stretching those arms away from you rather than nothing happening. Arms get really close and across your body and all sorts of problems start to happen. Get that lead foot rising up, get to the range, get used to that feeling. Feel like you're stretching away from that golf ball and give it a good tonk. Beautiful. And the final thing that's stopping you from adding distance to your drives, for those shorter hitters out there looking for more distance, is getting good extension through your lead side. So how you're pushing in the ground, getting your verticals to shoot up. And if you're lifting your lead foot like in tip 2, you can add these two together. So what I want you to do, get that ball position forward, get your lead foot rising on that backswing. And now to get that extension through your lead leg, what I tend to see with shorter hitters is there's sort of a bow in that leg that stays buried in their lead side. You get this sort of shape happening with your lead leg. No push out off the ground until way after the golf ball. So to get that push out of the ground nice and early, once you've lifted your heel off the ground, before you even start your downswing, I want you to feel like you're going to push and squash that heel back into the ground nice and early. So ball position forward, lifting that lead heel on the way back, and before we get to the top of your backswing, you're going to start to squish it into the ground again. This will really make you push up, the ground will push back, and you'll get some real good extension in that lead leg. It will start to snap back at you. So many of my lessons struggle with this one, but if you are a short hitter looking to hit that golf ball a little bit further, this is a game changer for swing speed. And once you get that swing speed, if you can start striking that golf ball properly too, that's where you're going to get 10, 20, 30 yards added onto your drives. Ball position, lead heel lifting on the backswing. Simple little tips that you can add to your golf swing. Tip number 3, bit more advanced, but once you've got tip 1 and 2 down to a T, get tip 3 into your golf swing and start adding some serious distance and speed to your golf drives. You're going to teach us or show us some training aids today.
Yep.
That might help the average golfer increase their speed a little bit.
Okay. Yep.
Your top 3.
Top 3.
And you've got a secret.
Yeah, I've got millions of them. First of all, if you think that there's training aids galore, we've got everything you can think of in that bag there. That's my travel holder that I go and travel with.
You take that everywhere, do you?
I take that everywhere, and it's got everything in there. So yeah, that's it's been around. It's done a few miles.
How many bags do you take with you?
Well, the force plates have a case, and then that's in a case, and then I've got to take some clothes in another case. So yeah, I go heavy loaded.
Yeah.
But if we was to thin that down to my favourites, the top 3 for me.
Okay.
First one, really, obviously, from my specialisation would be ground reaction forces. So once we've measured them and I've got good data and I know how a player is moving in time, so their time-ins, and then the amounts of force that they create in the 3 directions that you need to create forces to help you move, I use force pedals. So these little sort of pedals or pads, so they're different consistencies. So some of these, this is a softer one. That's the harder one. Okay. And the profile of it, you've got a big one and a mini one.
Fine.
So that's the hard one, big and mini. That's the soft one, big and mini.
They're not doing anything size-wise differently. It's just literally less invasive under your foot.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing. Obviously, when you put a big lump underneath the foot, it does become quite intrusive, and the player then is kind of looking at it's like, oh, it's a bit quite high. My foot's quite high. Yeah. So then you start off with something that was quite big, and then you would drop it down to a smaller one. So then if I was to then position that, now the good thing about this and what I really like is that we can position that under the balls of the feet. Okay, and under the lead foot, which is really important. So we jump, the trampolines, I like to call them, the trampolines of the foot are the balls of the toes, the base of the toes, and that's where we create the most force from, and that's where we can propel the best from, or we propel the most from. So it's really important that you position that, and that would be, if I was to position it here, I'd place it kind of around the met heads of the toes, especially that sitting underneath, mainly underneath the ball of my big toe underneath my lead foot. Yeah. And I can feel that there, and I'd want to be squeezing that and really applying a ton of force early downswing to mid downswing, and it kind of gets at its maximum amount. I'll put the shaft in position where it would be. Around vertical with driver shaft position, that would be max force underneath that lead foot at that point. So I want to be giving that pedal a good squeeze into the ground.
What's the patterns that you see with people that aren't excelling in clubhead speed? So are they late or are they early with that?
They're going to be late, so the shaft will be down here somewhere when they're getting max force into the pedal. Yeah. And they're very slow at shifting their force from their back foot onto their front foot, really slow. So it all looks a little bit like this. They don't get across quick enough, and therefore they can't get across enough in magnitude and amount, really, they don't get into that lead side and push into the balls of the toes into that lead foot enough.
I see that so often.
So light and slow. Yeah.
And I find that it's also related to like the face that they're presenting, generally open faces and stuff, to try and keep it somewhere on the planet. Yeah.
It goes a bit like that. So,
yeah.
And we know that we want to see stronger faces. We want to see stronger lofts on the face. We don't certainly want to be adding loft.
Yeah.
So they're quite weak with that anyway.
Yeah.
But they just, you know, from my perspective, and what I see is that pressure, the centre of pressure moving forwards, that pressure getting forwards is so slow.
Yeah.
The club starts to come down. It's all too late. And then when they do get max pressure underneath that lead foot, the club's down here. And there's no one on the planet that's going to get a reaction up through their body and energy, and I call it energy, into the system quick enough to actually change and influence impact. So then things look a bit prolonged and look very kind of contorted through the ball, which might work for some shots, but not from a speed perspective. Because when we want to get max speed into the head at impact, we want the hands to be, once they reach peak speed, which is roughly, it's not exactly, but it's around the time that their peak vertical force underneath the left foot, the hands are at peak speed. And then the hands are going to slow down as much as like 30, I've seen 40%. The hands slow down because the handle is kind of getting twisted and rotated to make the head speed up. So everyone's kind of thinking, most people think they've got to get the handle fast through impact. Well, if you're actually going to hit it with the head, not the handle, we actually want to slow the handle down and make the head speed up. Okay? To make the head speed up, we need ground reaction forces and extra energy up through that lead side, which is going to get the lead hip to rise. And also it's going to get the pelvis to rise. So it tends to then allow the golfer, it will aid the golfer's ability to bend the hand path, rotate the grip, and speed up the head. So the hands are kind of moving up, in and around to then get the end to speed up and not overlag it.
Of these little things.
And they're made, the people behind this are behind the Smart to Move system, the force plate system. So you've got brains behind it that have created ground reaction force measuring systems. So, you know, they know their stuff. They know their onions, and they've created certainly what I think one of my most used training aid. Speed
stick. Which one is it?
So
trick number 2.
We're going to get rid of this.
Okay.
And we're going to replace this with this. And we're going to use this 2 or 3 times per week, importantly with some break in between. So when we're doing speed training, we don't want to underestimate the power of resting the system, the central nervous system. So speed can be done alternative days. Okay, so we're going to alternate days. So if we did a speed day, 10 minutes, 15 minutes is good, no more than that. I'd start with 10. That's a lot for most people starting their speed journey. And speed has to be trained responsibly. So I'm staying in the responsible category here. So making sure that we do it the right amount. You and I with our big, big muscle, we think we can do more, but we can't, especially if we're not trained for speed. So we need to take time to build speed up. So let's say 10 minutes on a Monday, the next session could be then on a Wednesday or Thursday. Don't do 10 minutes on the Tuesday. Let the body, you can do anything else golf, but don't try and force the body and overwork the body. Because when you do speed, make sure it is speed. And then you're going as fast as possible. So you should be 10 minutes all out, maximum intent. Don't half-heart it. Give it everything. And you'll be sweating in that 10 minutes. You'll be sweating in that 10 minutes. It's amazing how much and quick you get into that, isn't it? Absolutely. So Ripstick is my favorite product for speed training. Why is it your favorite? So I love it for many reasons. Firstly, we start off with the head end of it. So there's weight bullets that go in. There's 3 bullets that go into it. So effectively it gives you 4 options of weight at the head end. So we've obviously got something with 0 weight, so very light. So this will move a lot faster than the normal club. Then we start adding these bullets to make it heavier. So we've got 1, 2, 3 bullets. So effectively you've got 4 weights to add to the end. The design of the end also gives a whistling tone. So we're trying to get that loud whistle fast and also the whistle where the point of impact would be. So making sure that we get speed into the end at the ball and not cast out that speed too early. So we got these resistance weights, which simply just unscrews there. You slide this in and then
Oh yeah, that is
we got
easy.
one weight. Really simple.
Yeah.
And it whistles away to give you those auditory keys and tones.
Okay.
So then when we move up to, so this is driver length, when we move up to the butt end of the club, what's very unique is a counterweight in the end, which I really like. So this is now going to make the butt end heavier than normal. So from a force perspective, it's really important that we understand that we need to create force in the handle.
Okay.
We've got muscular force moving our limbs. We've got ground reaction force as energy into the system, but we need to apply force to the handle.
Yeah.
So when we start to weight this handle, we're going to need to apply more force to move it.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's really crucial. So these kind of counterweights are really important. So I could go really light this end, but still keep that heavier end than normal to put some resistance in the butt end where I'm applying forces to the grip.
Okay.
So we kind of got many different, this has got so many different key features to it, and that's the reason why it's my number 2. And it's then a speed training aid, which if we do it responsibly and we can sustain it, we can use this training aid for weeks and months to help us build our speed up.
Number 3. What's that?
The PRGR radar, swing radar. So this measures speed of objects that pass over it. It's around 200 pounds.
What, not like $6,000 like all the rest?
It's a fraction of what a launch monitor that measures clubhead speed. But what I like about this, it measures objects that move over it.
Perfect.
So it can measure an object going over it backwards. So backswing speed.
Oh, yeah.
Downswing speed, objects passing over it. It also can measure your arm speed. Not a lot of people know that one.
I didn't know that one.
Put that down, your arms pass over, you can measure your arm speed. So arm speed coming down.
Ooh.
So it's got many uses, ways that we actually discovered. Lee Cox is one of my best friends and arguably the speed guru on the planet, right? With so many long drive champions. And we do a lot of work together, Lee and I. And it was when we were doing some videos using this product, we realized it was measuring our arms. So and it kept beeping. It was like, what's going on? So it's a genius device for not a lot of money.
Yeah.
So when you pair that with the ripstick, yeah, you've got to measure your speeds, right? How do you know whether you're going faster or slower? So during your speed training, you're measuring it with your ripstick. You've got your force pedals measuring it. They're helping you apply ground reaction force at the right time.
Yeah.
But then we've got our data to work on, and whether we're then, how that weighted object that we're using the ripstick there, how it's influencing our speeds. But tracking speed is very, very important. We've got to know how fast we're going.
Quick question.
Yes.
Backswing speed.
Yep.
Quicker you go back, quicker you're going to go through?
Generally, yes. So the fastest players on the planet have the fastest backswings. If we were to take the long drivers, there are outliers to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are always outliers. We can't change that. So yes, those are the ones we separate from the normal human beings, the outliers, right? But generally, we want to be swinging it faster on the way back. That will mean then we've got to apply force to the handle to make it slow down, change direction, and then that acceleration we can apply and get the hands to peak speed at the right time.
Yeah.
So sometimes those slow ones create these acceleration profiles that we can't really get the speed at the right time. So I'd be using that and tracking mainly downswing speed, but if you started to look at backswing speed, you want to be then trying to get your backswing a little bit quicker, and that will aid to you then changing the length of your backswing will change, because when it's faster, you're going to go further back generally, not always, but generally. But like I say, from a handle force perspective, we've got to apply more forces to the handle over a longer period of time. That's called impulse. It's basically force over time. We're applying forces to the handle for a longer period of time if that's moving quicker.
So I can see why you have picked these 3, because they kind of all intertwine, don't they? You're going to start off here by checking that you're pushing in the ground properly.
Pushing the ground
and then
properly.
You're going to check that you are doing training properly.
Resistance training, timing the speeds of it, working on the handle forces, and then importantly,
you've got something to measure.
Yeah, and this basically it goes down about 3 foot back from the golf ball.
Yeah.
Pop it on, and it just runs, and it runs on some AA batteries. It's just a really and it fits in the Skyrocket, right? So it's in there, it goes in the bag. You've got your ripstick as a training product, but also as a warm-up product. If you did half a dozen of lightweight with those before your first tee shot, you're going to warm up nicely. But more importantly, what you do is you're activating, you're almost stimulating the muscles and stimulating the fire in the system at a quicker speed because it's lighter. So that quicker speed then is achieved on the golf course. You do half a dozen of those and hit your first tee shot, you're going to hit a faster tee shot than normal.
And that speed is so quick at picking up, isn't it?
Like
you do 10 of them, 5 of them, you'll be quicker. It's crazy.
Absolutely. And the point being, on the lightest weight, it's lighter than your normal driver.
Yeah.
So you are going to swing it faster. So you pick your driver, oh, this is really heavy. But all of a sudden we've activated and the brain then all of a sudden is, you know, such a powerful engine, right? That if you train speed and the brain gets used to it and then can start to self-organize, we're going to then apply it and get used to delivering the club at faster speed. So.
And we've got a secret.
Top secret.
Oh.
Okay. So speed training.
Yeah.
Making sure that it's sustainable speed training. So I've touched on that in those training aids when I mentioned that we need to make sure that we're training at the right intervals, so the frequency is correct. So we need to be, I'd no more than 3 sessions a week if you're not playing like an important round of golf.
Yeah.
So if you're at home sleeping in your bed, you know, you're not traveled abroad, because I'm sure that we've got elite players that are traveling and playing elite competition, right? So they're away from their own bed. But if you're at home sleeping in your own bed, you're resting well, you're not got an important match coming up, you could do as many as 3 sessions per week, but there must be a day off in between to rest.
Cool.
We don't want to be going more than about 15 minutes. I see obviously the professionals of speed doing 20 minutes, but they started at 10, built up to 15, up to then 20.
What increment would you then build it up? So you say start at 10.
Start at 10, I'd go 3 or 4 weeks of that.
3 or 4 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, no more than 4. Then week 5, you could go up then another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we'd go 3 or 4, week 8, week 9,
yeah.
and then we'd push up to sort of 12 weeks. And a speed program needs to be a minimum of 9 and should really be about 12 weeks.
Okay.
So then importantly, what we can do is that we can build clubhead speed, and we need to build an amount that's sustainable. Okay, so if we said 2 miles per hour, 3 miles an hour was manageable and sustainable, that you could hold it.
Yeah.
That once you can hold your clubhead speed for a period of time, the human brain can self-organize to therefore then get speed to deliver the face and get centered contact. And also face to path, start to manage the face to path for the shape. So you're giving the human brain the same speed to self-organize delivery and impact.
Right.
Now I see people gain 5 or 6, can't sustain it, can't hold it for long enough. Speed's doing this through the session.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now the brain's trying to organize 5 more, 2 more, 3 more, 1 more. It's like, oh, that's a bit cool. That's a bit slower. How do you get sweet spot contact if the speed is changing all the time? So do bite-size amounts.
I like that.
Bite-size amounts manageable over the right frequency. And I would alternate speed in the club. So if we did 2 weeks at most speed in the club, getting the speed up and holding it, then we would do speed into the ball. So then we'd focus with that new speed, getting centered contact.
Right.
So we do club speed, ball speed. Then increase the club speed, hold it, ball speed. Because club speed is only important when we get ball speed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're not seeing that ball go down there. We're only seeing this thing moving faster, and we see it going there. So bite-size, sustainable, manageable amounts, then get it into
I
the
like
ball.
that, because so many people think speed and they go fastest. How fast can I go? How fast can I go?
Jumping around, and we've got millions of videos to it, and I get it, right? And we want to go faster, but we just can't hold it. We physically can't hold it. And also, when I train speed, I am very responsible, and I want people that are watching this video to be responsible. If you go too fast, you're going to break yourself.
Yeah.
You are going to create injury because you're overloading and overworking the body.
It's a journey.
Over time, that journey for sure.
In the comments down below, have you ever seen or used one of these drills before? Hitting with your feet together, hitting with your lead foot forwards, or hitting with your trail foot forwards. Now, if you haven't seen or used them, now's the time to do it, as this could be the secret to your power source and increasing your club head speed. If you have tried them before, in the comments as well down below, out of all three, which one makes you strike the golf ball best? So what I want you to do with the three drills is go and test them. See which one you can hit the golf ball the furthest with. If you've got access to a launch monitor, top tracer at a driving range. Even if you don't and you can head to the driving range, see which one you can hit the golf ball the furthest. See which one you strike the golf ball best with. So what I want you to do is set yourself up about a golf ball's width between your 2 feet, and let's start with feet together. Set yourself up, see how far you can hit it. I've struck that really good. Let's try the other two as well. So I'm going to go feet together again, like I did a minute ago, but then I'm going to take my trail foot back and literally just have it touching the ground, so I'm relying solely on my lead foot here. And then again, see how far and how well you can strike it with just your lead foot in action. Again, a good strike, and probably similar distance to the first one. And now the final one, feet together, lead foot back. Again, hardly any pressure on it, it's just there for sort of show and balance, relying solely on my trail foot now. Already I'm feeling wobbly on this foot, and I know from experience and trying this drill a lot that this is my worst out of the three, so I might struggle here a little bit. I do have to think more about it too. Oh! Strike thin, I have made contact, and nowhere near as much distance. Once you've done that and found out which you strike the best, hit the furthest, it will tell you a lot about your golf swing, because each of those drills is using slightly different ground force reactions. Feet together is great for torque, rotation, twisting. Lead foot forward, trail foot back is brilliant for verticals, jumping. Trail foot forward is great for pushing, sliding, horizontal. So how can you take this drill and this information into your actual golf swing? If you're someone that hits it better with your trail foot forwards, I want you to try having a wider stance. This will really help promote your horizontal forces and use that more in your golf swing. If you struck it best and hit it furthest with your feet together, I want you to go the opposite. So I want you to have a narrower stance. This will really help promote rotation in your golf swing and use this as more of a force. And finally, if you hit it best with your lead foot forward, I need you to do a little bit of playing around with this as well. But I need you to set up with either your front foot facing out or sprayed outwards, or have it pretty straight. So this will depend on when your verticals are peaking in your golf swing, but I obviously don't know that. So I need you to play around with if you hit it better with your foot sprayed out or facing forward. You've got two options there. Go and practice and see which one works best. How that foot is positioned will change when your vertical peaks in your golf swing to get you the most power. Go and give those three simple golf drills a try next time you're at the range to see if you can find your secret power move to longer, straighter drives. What I see with loads of lessons that come to me that struggle with distance is that they restrict their lower half from turning, which then restricts their upper body. You've got to get your hips turning to help move this upper body as well. And the checkpoint that I want you to try and achieve is getting your back to point towards your target. So what we're going to do is get your hip moving, turning back as much as you can in the backswing. That's then going to allow you to turn that upper body more and get you pointing that upper body towards your target, increasing your swing length, allowing you more time, more length to speed that club up by the time it gets to impact. Turn that trail hit back and get your back pointing towards the target. Tip number 2 to get you swinging faster and hitting that golf ball further. When I look at amateur golf swings that don't hit the golf ball a long way, it's amazing the time differences between someone that hits the golf ball a long way and someone that's a short hitter. The backswing and how long it takes them to complete their backswing. Short hitters take forever to get to the top of their swing, whereas faster golfers are fast on the way back and fast on the way through. Think about it. If I put more speed into my backswing, I'm going to have to put more forces in certain parts of my body, in the ground, in the shaft, in the grip, to slow that club head down, which will then give me that sort of catapult effect, which will get that club moving faster on the way down as well. Whereas if I'm slow on the way back, I don't have to put those forces in, which is going to then make it hard to speed that club up at the start of my downswing. So what I want you to try and get rid of, and again, do this at the range and practice with it first. I've talked about it before on my channel, but starting static is not going to help you hit the golf ball further. Now, there are outliers and people can hit the golf ball further, but as a general rule, we want you to start swinging faster back to swing faster on the way down. And achieving that can just be simply moving around back, forth, on your front foot, on your trail foot at the start of your swing. A great drill is to start that club in front of the golf ball, the target side, and then pull it back as fast as you can. Pull it back as fast as you can. Listen to that swoosh that I get. Whereas amateurs start dead static, take forever to get to the tops of their swing. There's no swoosh, there's no sounds going back. We want you to start pulling that club back and getting back to the top of your backswing a lot faster. It's more athletic. You're putting forces in your swing already to start speeding up those downswings. On the range, yes, use this drill. Put the club head in front of your ball and pull it back as fast as you can. On the course, you might not feel comfortable doing that, so give yourself a few wiggles, get yourself loosened up, ready to pull that club back as fast as you can, especially on those par 5s that you want to send that ball down. But in practice, club in front, set yourself up like you're going to hit it so you know you're in the right spot. Club in front, pull that club back and smash it as fast and as hard as you can. This golf drill and the last one are hard, so you might start to miss strike shots, but don't worry about it. We're concentrating on getting that swing speed up so you can then start to hit the golf ball further. Learning how to swing faster will just increase your average swing speed, which will then help you hit the golf ball further. I promise you, when long drivers and long drive champions are practicing speed, they're not worried about where that golf ball goes. They're putting swing speed number on their computer and just focusing on that. And then once they've got that speed up, they'll be focusing on ball speed, which then brings them back to striking that golf ball properly. So don't get all scared and flustered when you miss-hit some, because you will miss-hit some. Tip number 3 to help you start swinging faster and hitting that golf ball further. This one is the toughest. So I did a video recently on about slowing your hands down to hit the golf ball further. So your hands need to speed up to a certain point about halfway down in your downswings, and then your hands will start to slow up, which then puts the energy out towards the end of the club to speed that up and hit the golf ball further. This drill is to help you understand how to slow your hands down and get that club head moving faster. Now, I know that Martin Borgmeyer uses this one. I've seen him do it before as well when I've been on sort of Callaway launches and things like that. So what he tends to do, and long drivers do, I think most of them will probably do this drill now, is that they'll try and stop as fast as they can after impact. Don't do this if you're not warmed up. And don't do this maybe with a driver as well. Start with a short iron that's a bit easier to hit. Don't go injuring yourself when doing this golf drill, please. What we want you to try and achieve is hit this golf ball like you normally would, or as hard as you want to, and then you need to stop as fast as you can. when you watch Martin do this, it is unbelievable how fast he can stop. He's got the power, he's got the strength to push back, pull back on that handle, which again is slowing this handle down and putting that energy out towards the club head end, which is going to speed your swing up and hit that golf ball further. Remember, this one isn't for if you're not warmed up. Get a shorter club and do it. What I want you to do, set yourself up, swing as fast as you can and stop as fast as you can as well. Like I said, these drills are getting a little bit harder and you might miss it a few. That nearly gave me a sky mark. Let's have one more go. Speed it up, stop as fast as you can. After hitting it. That's going to speed those hands up, slow them down and get that energy out towards that golf ball. Look at where one of my others has pitched on the screen there. That's carried 247 yards, nearly 250 yards of carry with no follow through, because I'm getting that energy out to the end of the club head. 3 golf tips there to help you swing faster and hit that golf ball further. Real basic ones to start with. Get that body turning more. Get that back pointing towards your target. Increase that swing arc, increase that swing length to get that club head going faster. Number 2, you got to get your back swings going faster to speed up those down swings. And number 3 is slowing those hands down to get that energy out towards the end of the golf club. In this live golf lesson, I added 11 miles an hour to my club head speed. You did hear that right. And I got a personal best swing speed. Recently, I went to visit Steve Furlonger, one of the world's leading golf coaches in ground force reactions and world long drive. Now, I know a lot of golfers down that lens get confused about numbers, data, golf terminology, but don't worry, me and Steve are going to explain things as simple as possible and give you some simple golf tips to help you increase your club head speed, helping you to hit longer golf drives, helping you to hit the golf ball further, helping you to hit bombs. This was so much fun. I learned a lot and I hope you can take away these simple golf tips and put them into your game too. I've added chapters in this video, so if you want to go straight to the nitty-gritty of the golf lesson where we start to change my golf swing, go for it, click on the chapter below. But this is a full lesson structured on driving distance. And there are so many golf tips and golf drills throughout the whole video, I wouldn't be skipping any of it. Let me know in the comments down below, what is your average driving distance and what would you love to get your distance or swing speed number to? Also, whilst you're down there, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button if you're enjoying the channel. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoy the video, and don't forget to turn that bell on so you get notified of when I upload all my new videos. 11 miles an hour, even with these pins.
So ping a few out there, 7. Let's get some data up. We'll grab some force plate stuff there as well. So strike tendency with iron.
Bit toey as well.
It gets toey.
Yeah, same with everything.
Okay.
Toey throughout, I would say. Rarely heel anything.
What's the biggest fear with iron?
Nothing really.
So you can stand there over an iron shot.
Yeah, I wouldn't really panic too much.
Okay.
I get the odd pull.
Yeah, but doesn't
rarely,
bother you.
No, nothing really major.
And strike solid as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Press it nicely.
The odd one is, like I say, a bit toey.
Yeah. So that's
Nice.
good. Let's get on to driver. That's
Cool.
captured. You just hit a few. Let's just ping a few out before we go force plate again to
Okay.
get familiar
No
with
worries.
the big dog.
There's my toe to start me off. So do you want me just to swing again, or do you want me to do what I would do now to try and stop that?
I want you to keep doing stock
Keep towing it.
at the moment. Keep towing it for the moment, just so we get some consistent information
Okay.
and you're not fixing.
Because basically how my golf works, like if that was the first tee, then I kind of know where I am now, and I would start to adjust to fine strike again.
Okay.
So generally, like by the third or fourth tee shot, I'll have strike, and then know what face to path I've got because of curvature.
Which makes you the player that you are, which is so important. The ability to adapt is number one, trumps everything, right? So that 100%.
That's like my safety blanket, that drive.
Yeah, as soon as you see that,
bang, I'm happy.
Like, right, get that one in.
Aim
we're
over
done.
there, see that one
now,
go.
Now we can.
Okay, so don't change anything.
And don't change anything, keep going.
Okay, fine.
So just so going through speed, obviously TrackMan's slightly different from Quad or GC3 that you use, just from point of impact versus point of touch.
Correct.
So I've got
slower.
111, 110 at the moment, which is what your build-up speed tends to start at when you're hitting driver?
Yeah, 114, 115, and then I'll get up to 117.
So that's okay. Attack angle negative, is that correct?
Might be.
Okay.
I have to work hard to get it up.
Okay. So as soon as I am seeing negative, that's not like that's typical because you will.
What is it? One down level?
I've got a 0 to 1 up to then a couple of 0.4 negative.
Yeah.
So it will hover around
and
that.
And then I'll do again stuff once I've found strike to move it up.
We'll talk a little bit more about the delivery side of things, the numbers a bit later, and what could be the best route to optimise from a launch, attack and spin profile on the ball, what could help a lot more. So I definitely think there's mileage in with tweaking that, just knowing that attack angle and loft that you show at impact, how that's going to affect the spin, and if it is curving, how it's going to curve less because of it. So I think there is a journey in that, but then that's a different conversation. Just from a force perspective, even from what you sent me of your previous data, I'm already seeing the values, the peak values of your force similar. So I'm glad that I've got something that's similar, because from a speed perspective, there's definitely something in the tank there, which we can play about with. If we talk about speed, when it comes to direction and curvature, it's back to that delivery number, which is the ultimate. And I do think there's a matchup that needs to be, a journey in matchup that needs to be taken for you to spin it and therefore control curve better. So if we separate the two when we talk about it, we go faster first, and then we talk about matchups, ideal matchups. So then that kind of matchup session, face the path, launch, all that stuff is done separate from you trying to get speed up, because there's immediately something that I'm going to get you to hit some harder shots in a minute, just to see what you do differently to what's stock.
Cool.
If you're going to bang one, so because you're warmed up nicely now. So let's do one more driver without the force plates, and then I'm going to do a 3D capture on the phone as well. So let's go faster. So let's do 3 shots where we pump 3 out there.
Right, t-shirt's probably going to get untucked and everything.
Go on, back to front, everything ready, trousers rolled up, nothing left in the tank.
Because in lockdown I was 120.
Okay.
So I've definitely moved my ceiling in lockdown, but because I don't do it anymore, I feel like I've regressed to what my norm was.
And that will be purely the golfer in you wanting to find the ball when you play. And you just will get slower. If you went back and had some sort of protocol, let's call it, they are speed shockers, neurologically shocking the system to go faster. If you just did that, it will bring the speed, the organic speed back up again. And I think that this is where it's quite important that you have, you know, we talk about it, those 2 10-minute or 2 15-minute sessions, that you work on the 2 important speeds, club speed and ball speed. And you raise the club speed on week 1. And then on week 2, you raise the ball speed so you find the center of the face. The brain, the brain gets used to body moving faster. Because the goal is club. The brain then gets faster moving body and club to get the ball to strike the center, ball speed. Then we raise the ceiling again, neurologically get rewired, get used to speed, find the face, used to speed, find the face. Give yourself a chance to work out how to move faster. Give yourself a chance to make speed work for you and find the face. For amateur golfers, those that are watching this, be very, very careful. Obviously, from an injury standpoint, don't go out and, I can do 20 minutes of smack. No. 10 minutes.
Yeah.
From a stamina perspective, you've got to build it up anyway. So we start 2 times 10. Then we might do 2 times 15 in 4 weeks' time. Then at most, it might be 2 times 20. Okay?
Yeah.
Keep that going. Yeah. Respect speed as it is. Train speed as the skill. Speeds, that one 117, so we notched that one up there.
There you go.
And strike was decent on that one as well.
Yeah, that one went straight, didn't it? I think.
So interestingly how your path changes and your attack angle changes as well. Yeah, it's gone up.
I definitely feel like
optimization, it's just all of a sudden, it just looks cleaner. The dynamic loft, the launch is different. I'm looking at that and saying,
why are you
doing that more often? For God's sake. So then you've got to stand there, you've got to block it all out, you've got to just, I'm going at this, what's the worst can happen? Okay, I could hit it there, I could hit it there, I'm going at this.
Yeah.
And is there scientific stuff, anything to prove that slower, more controlled is more accurate, faster, letting the club kind of work what it wants to do, let the body move freely, just give it a smash and, that's it. There's nothing really to prove that. Yeah. Holding it, controlling it, steering it, is it any better than freewheeling it, letting it go? Yeah,
that's where building up data will help people as well, and collecting stats and things, not only just course ones, but like if every time I hit my launch monitor, kept the data on smashing driver compared to soft, I would work out that my standard deviations are X and Y with both. So 100%. If they're the same, why are you not just smashing it?
The tracking is key, and that's called the scatter plot, all the little dots on the outfield, the bird's eye view that we see of where it's gone. We take that kind of scattered plot of all the shots, and then we picture that, dropping that on the golf course. And actually, you know what? I could, if I aim that over there and take that and plot that one there, that can work.
Or whatever, We're capturing now, aren't we? So I need to stand still.
Yeah, so this one is a capture.
Okay,
so
let me get my wriggles out of the way.
Get your wriggles, get all of that stuff. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Hold, all out.
Ready.
Oh, that's a bomb as well, look.
So we could probably just conclude this lesson right now. We don't need any of that. Just hit it as hard as you can. And don't worry about where, yes, accept it can go left or right. Acceptance is the key. Just bloody hit it, right? So from a force perspective, you are creating more force. So I'm going to really keep it really simple and look at the basics. Discussed this a little bit at the start. The most important force is vertical force. We've got the 2 swings up on here. We've got your stock driver and your fast one. Okay, so 4 mile an hour difference in the 2. Interestingly, straight away, and I see this with all faster players, wider stance. So you just see it here to here. If we were just to look at the measurements, just that extra inch and a half. Is a game changer. Stance width, you've got to get wider if you're going to swing it. It's the bigger foundation, right? So the big one really for me, and this is what I saw from your data that you sent me, from your history, is that vertical force is massive.
So vertical is how you're jumping?
Your ability to jump. But then if we were to bring that down one step, your ability to rise up. Okay? So jumping already, people say, oh, I don't want to jump. I can't hit the middle of the face because I'm going to miss the golf ball. Don't jump. But your ability to rise up is really important. So if I take my lead side, my left side as a right-handed golfer, and that rises up, it creates a tilt across my body. So this ability to create tilt across the pelvis, across the shoulder line, across the rib cage, gives me the ability to pull on the handle. If you pull on the handle, the head kicks forwards. Okay? Now that pulling on the handle, you could use this analogy, you probably heard this online, but if I had a speedboat and a dinghy with somebody sitting in it and the speedboat was to take a tight corner and turn really quickly, the dinghy would get thrown out. Very similar, if the handle is the speedboat and the dinghy is the head, if I pull really tightly in and up, that head's kicking round really quickly.
Love it.
So the fastest players bend the hands up and in through rise
Okay.
of their lead side, okay?
Yep.
So that's where vertical force is the big one. So your peak amount
Yeah.
of vertical force for stock is 149, 149%,
Yeah.
1.4 times or nearly 1.5 times your body weight.
Okay.
Okay, you're 70 kilos, work that out, it's about 100 kilos of force into the ground.
Okay. Is that
Yeah.
a lot?
That's a lot,
What are long drivers pushing in?
but it could be more.
Damn.
Okay. So, and it's not, people say, well, the heavy guys do it. Yeah, okay, if you was 90 kilos,
Yeah.
then we've got 130 or so.
Yeah.
You understand? So if you're a bit heavier, you're multiplying that heavier body
Yeah.
1.5 times.
Okay, so I
Okay.
can put in 45
So
kilograms
we can,
instead. Yeah.
put a bit of meat on the
Yeah.
bone.
Yeah,
Get
exactly.
fill you out a little bit more, get you up to about 80 kilos. But no, putting that aside. So 1.49, is it tour level 170? Long drivers over 200. So 2 times your body weight. Now we've got 140 kilos of force into the ground. For you, from a speed perspective, I'd want you to create 2 times your body weight in force.
Oh, it's pathetic then.
So a little bit more. I like your term. I like the way you're describing it. I'm not going to say it, but we got to get more. Okay.
Yeah.
And then when I say more, I'd say your ability to make it, to get to that number, that higher value, quicker.
Okay.
Acceleration. So it's not how long you force the ground, it's how fast you force the ground. So it's not a long pump down to create force and push into the ground under your lead foot, it's how quickly you can do it. Okay?
Yeah.
And that really separates not only just the value, the fast guys are really good at making a short, fast pump,
Yeah.
an explosive pump.
Little jab.
Not a long one that goes down, which we get the amount up, but it's done over a long period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do
makes sense,
short, fast pump.
Okay.
Okay. But so then when I'm going to compare to your fast one. So this was one that was 4 mile an hour faster.
Yeah.
So we've gone from 149 to 165. If we're looking at 10% extra of the total.
Yeah.
Yeah. 165. Is it enough? No. It's just short of tour level.
Okay.
But okay, you're generating good speeds.
Yeah.
So we've probably got, if we was to push it over to keep you to maintain the 115s or maybe the 117, that'd spike up, that would be 170 plus
Okay.
at the 117. But the target for speed would be, how do we get to 200?
How do we get to 200?
So we're going to use, some sort of a pressure board.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to do some pumping drills.
Okay.
We're going to do some rise ups, some drop downs.
Yeah.
Very quick, short, explosive pump down under the left foot. That's going to be the first force value that we're going to work on.
Look at all the gadgets, what we got.
We've got a board. There's many of these on the market. This is one of them.
Little bit
Basically,
in
yeah, that's it. So it's like think of it like almost like a seesaw.
Yeah.
So a piece of wood with a batten.
Yeah.
So it just tips side to side. Now, this is just really to give you an awareness of
where everything
pressure is and force, okay?
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to get up to the top of the backswing. We're going to feel a bit higher, a bit more stretched, yeah? And then we're just pump
tapping
that
it
foot
on that
down.
side. Fine.
Yeah? So keep it up there, bang, bang, bang. And really get short, sharp pumps underneath the front of the lead foot, your left foot as a right-handed golfer. So I always like you to quantify your own feels. So I call it intensity. If you were to, on your own scale of 1 to 10, I want you to rate each pump.
Okay.
So 1 would be a little tap.
Yeah.
10 would be burying a foot in the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah? So what was that out of 10? What was that out of, yeah?
Yeah.
Rate it, because what we do then is that we kind of get to where you feel that you're around the 9 or 10, and then we measure 1.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, fine.
But it's important that you understand what 1 is and what 10 is.
So you want me to
you feel like you're a bit higher and a bit lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah? And that's a good thing. So when you're higher and lighter, go to the top of backswing. So this is going to be, I'm not going to take you over there, I'm going to bring you back in the middle a bit more. So a bit higher, a bit higher.
Yeah.
So just laterally, just be aware.
So I go too much this way?
Yeah. So I don't want you to sway anymore. I just want you to rise up and drop down.
And this is just for this exercise?
It's just going to be a vertical force,
Fine.
which is all about lift, drop, lift. Yeah.
Like that way.
So get some good stretch. You're feeling stretch. Your arms are lifting. The
Yeah.
stretch across the shoulder systems.
Grip
There's
together.
going to be a stretch from rib cage to pelvis.
Gripped like properly or hands split?
Yeah, you can hold hands together, grip however you feel. Yeah. And we do this with driver as well in a minute. Just feel nice stretch. Okay, so then when you're comfortable with that stretched position, and we're no more swayed off of it, so stretch, I want you to pump down, pump the board down. Boom, boom, boom.
That feels like a 5. I feel like I could do that loads more, but
Give me more.
I feel like
Give me more.
it feels again a little bit pathetic. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I could slam it, but
Okay. Bang.
yeah. It feels like I want to go up more to slam it more
good.
as well.
What goes up?
Must come down.
The laws of Newton and gravity. Right,
It's
so
like
come on,
my-
up and
it's
down.
like my start in swing. Like it feels like I want to do like this and
Yeah,
down,
good, good, good,
like there.
good, good, good.
That's like 7s and 8s, I
Excellent.
would say. I will it a 120 today. That's the target.
Absolutely. Now, if the hands go further back, fine.
Back.
A longer track.
Yeah.
We got this race car. Give it a bit of a longer track.
Might go
Kick it
a
up
bit
to
quicker,
speed a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, just give yourself a bit of a chance. And from a speed perspective, there is that mechanical advantage of taking it further back.
Okay.
This again isn't to take it further away laterally. This is to take it further up and around the body, higher a little bit more. If the
So
heel
you
lifts
start
a
to
little
see
bit,
guys-
if the hip goes a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
This is speed. So we are doing this. This is all part of the vertical force journey.
Yeah.
If I get up higher, I'm stretched, I'm going to be lighter, I can fall down. And that ability to go down quickly and press under that left foot quickly. Yeah,
Yeah.
good. There we go. Boom. There we go. Boom.
And you want it quick as well, don't you?
Yeah. And when you're doing that as well, you kind of, your left shoulder and your left hip kind of maintains that kind of tilted over position.
Yeah.
You don't pull up straight away, do you?
Yeah.
That's me just
Yeah.
pumping it under the right foot. That would be kind of a drop down across onto the left side.
So I want to feel like I can do that.
Yeah, go on. Yeah. And, just to get a feel for it, stamp the foot.
Yeah.
Lift it and stamp it. Press
Yeah.
it. There you go.
That's like more near 10
That's
now.
more like it. Good.
I feel like I was so safe at the start.
Safe, controlled. And again, we're just giving you the ability to learn it. This is where that scale is important. Yeah?
Yeah.
You now, this is your scale, not my scale. Yeah? So I want you to know what your 10 is.
Yeah.
Because we've got to get to 10, then we hit some shots. So understand, and that will then create that verse. So this is, when we do speed, we remove outcome. Okay,
Good.
this isn't performance testing.
Yeah.
We're looking at ball speed and club speed.
Yeah.
Today, really club speed. The ball speed stuff, I'll let you put it back on the face again.
Yeah.
We talked about how you periodise club and get faster and then ball by getting the strike. So this is to go pump down and then we go fast.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, ready to hit shot?
Yeah.
I don't care where the ball goes. I want you to bury that force plate as if you're going to put it a foot into the ground, yeah? Rise up, pump down. Don't care where it goes.
Don't feel like I did it max there.
Not put it, and then the timings of it, there's going to be this journey of kind of, is it changing the timings?
Hang on. Everyone stop. Don't feel like I did it, but that's quite
That's
big.
a huge gain. So when we start going over 200, we're in the dizzy heights of what long drivers do creating force.
Yeah.
That's 2.2 times.
70.
Yeah? That's a huge amount extra.
Is that your biggest ever?
Gains, seen some big gains, but that's definitely one of the biggest influencers out there. This man is doing it. So that, but then for us, it was quite easy because you was quite low.
Yeah.
If you're a 180, 190 guy, getting you over 200, but that's a big jump. I was expecting you to get to 80 or 90, 180, 190.
Yeah.
You've whacked it up to 220. That feels completely out of control. So then it's back to, okay, we did the scale drill, we did that intensity drill, we helped you learn where 10 was. You were very safe and controlled at the start. You build it up to 10. then we just do a few of them. You've got your force plates, you measure it on the force plates, just get it over 200, non-negotiable, and then you'll deal with it.
Yeah.
You'll learn to deal with that 220 and find the face, okay? It was a little bit more out the toe, but actually...
I'm used to that.
Yeah, not so bad. We're going to look at the timings of it.
Okay.
So we're going to just check the timings, because that's the kind of the next big thing, is that it hasn't affected...
So you're seeing
good.
where I peak.
So that's where you've peaked it there now. So if I stop it, that's good. I like that
Left
there. I
arm
want that
parallel?
I want it to be around left arm to shaft parallel, shaft vertical.
That's the window, so left arm parallel.
That would be ideal for driver.
Yeah.
At your speed, shaft vertical.
And I'm where?
And you're a little bit earlier.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Which then is quite exciting, because actually we could go a little bit longer with that force. And now it's a bit like, just stay on that board a bit longer before you come off of it.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, so we got a good number. Can we just push that amount a little bit later into the downswing? So we will, I'm thinking we're going to keep going with what we're doing, because I like this. I do want you to hit shots. And I mean, just, if we just bring up the video of your stock, just look at how different you are at the top. I mean, your new one's on the left.
Yeah.
Let's bring your original stock.
Yeah, look at that. Look at where the hands are. Look at my back.
So the hands have travelled about 10 centimetres more. You're not a short length swinger anyway. You're not John Rahm.
Yeah.
You get to parallel with the shaft.
Yeah.
But you got the hands round the clock. If we said your hands were kind of just shy of 12, you've got them, you know, at 12:15.
Yeah.
Round the clock, which is good. So longer, you're more stretched. Look at your vertical position.
Yeah, higher up in the background on that picture.
Yeah.
Look at where my hat is. Look at where my hands are touching the roof. Like, yeah, a lot higher, isn't it?
Okay. So now we've got to get that out, because we haven't seen the club speed yet. So we've got to transfer that into club speed. I'm interested, there's a bit of the other data behind the scenes that I'm going to be looking at in a little bit as well. From my perspective, I want to see the hands reaching peak speed.
Okay.
And then your ability to rotate the grip and get it out to the head. Very good.
Because I
want you to feel as if you're going to whip the club. I want you to whip the head.
Yeah. So I would say that this is where old me is more handle draggy, that way.
Which is handle speed too late.
Yeah. Can't let go of it. So,
throw it.
Like to change what I used to do, it was like this.
Yeah.
Throw that thing.
Yeah. And then from that perspective, understanding that you can go, feel like the club's that way and throw it that way.
Yeah, yeah.
So I always imagine the analogy, if there was like a settee or sofa behind you, your right buttock here, over here, you're going to kind of feel like the club's heading down towards the sofa and throw it out there. Okay. Yeah? Go on, pump and smash it, whip that club. Pump and throw. Good. 119. 1 mile an hour more. One more. So that's good then. So part of that throwing action, whether you feel like it's kind of being thrown around the corner or thrown up and out to the right, release that club, make it whoosh. Get the club head to swing fast.
Down there.
Go.
Oh, that was terrible.
Don't care where it goes. Good. 118.
Need a 120 though.
Come on, we had 119. Just keep moving, keep going.
Now it's my endurance as well kicking in, isn't it? How long can I go for?
So here then, I want you to feel that, okay, the point, rise up, slam down, yeah? So a bit of jittering and get that rise up. Try and get that rise up earlier, faster.
Oh, I don't think I released that quick enough. But I felt like the down was better on that one.
Yeah, good, 117. Good. Striped. 119 again, 118.9. 1 mile an hour in. Come on, just one.
1 mile an hour is so hard sometimes, isn't it? This is in lockdown where it was like just one more, and you just get knackered.
And this is where we can get kind of, when we get, you know, speed sticks like Super Speed, there's Ripstick, there's Stack, there's some brilliant systems out there, right? The light ones we tend to swing faster.
Yeah.
So they're good because they really do, because it's easier to do it. When we put the load on it, it's harder. So it's just blending the light and the heavy the right amount. But if you was just to get that light stick and swing it 6 times, then hit your first tee shot, you'd get some gains.
Yeah.
Because it's just that, all again, it's just shocking the system neurologically. Oh, I can go that quick. I can cope with that. I can deal with that.
Yeah.
And it's actually really difficult once you've learnt to move faster to actually move slower. So it's kind of wired in. It's already kind of saved in that on the database, that memory of the brain of I can move like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm hitting it pretty straight on.
And again, this is the fun. If you tied this to speed, if you had 10, 15 minutes twice a week, you could have fun smashing it.
Yeah.
Just working on this one drill alone.
And I think that's what the guys down the lens can take away from it. If it is something fun, then add it in. Like, I enjoy going to the short game because I'm quite good at it and mixing up shots and stuff. It's fun. Like, you get this in your routines and start finding it fun, like, you're going to start gaining pretty quick.
Absolutely.
If you're doing the right stuff.
Absolutely.
Oh, big toe.
Whoa.
Oh,
Ooh.
Get up there.
Oh, 119.1. Now we got the 0.1 out. That makes all of the difference. That was the grunt. Let's go with, I want you to get, okay, this swing, I want you to get it furthest round the clock.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Long.
The highest and furthest round the clock you can get it. And this is going to be part of that, getting light and stretching and unweighting and getting, that's it. Go on.
Oh, that's a complete neck.
Don't care.
Get up.
121! Oh. Yay! We are there, my man. This is it. See, and so, and this is the, and I just threw in. And again, so this is the. So you take this off. This shouldn't be right. So then, if I was to, I show you, and I'd set this up right. All we want is club and ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we remove all of that, numbers, and that would be how you would train.
Yeah.
And I'd have that on the screen.
Yeah.
So you're hitting balls at the data tiles.
Yeah.
There is no, because you're going, but it's out the neck, and you're slowed down now. No, this is speed.
Constantly scared, aren't they, golfers?
You're scared of, but this is a speed session. This is your 10-minute window to go as fast as you can, have fun, all out, right?
Yeah.
So that's it. It's not, the performance stuff comes later. We know the importance of performance and shaping and finding throws. Yeah, but that's a different task altogether.
Yeah.
This is all about speed. So what we did there, we did the blend of rise.
Yeah.
Okay. Rise, stretch, rise, lower, faster. But all I added in there, that final one, was just take it round the clock a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it will go across the line and it will point back. And think about it then, if I take the club all the way round, past my head and point it back at the golf ball, that's on plane but on the other side.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So it's not across the line, it's actually on plane, it's pointing back at the ball. So that's what we want. We want to get it up there, and part of this rise and stretch is to help us take it further around the clock.
Where's the 122 then?
Well, and the thing is, and with this as well, you wanted to give up.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5 minutes ago, you said, you know what, I fancy a bit of cake, I'm going to go and have a cup. No, you still add more in there.
Yeah.
Don't give up when you're at the point. I mean, I know we talked about we need to be careful overuse and stuff, but you're physically able to do this. Nothing wrong with you. You're not hurting. You're not. Of course, if there's some pain, stop. But you're not. You're physically able, but you would have thrown the towel in because you were tiring. You had stuff in the tank. So when I see regression, then I see a problem, but it wasn't regression. You were maintaining 117, 18 and 19 consistently for 6-7 shots. So there's still plenty there. If that dropped to 15, I would say, we're done. We'll just hit some wedge shots and come back in 10 minutes. We're already there. I had no doubt. I think, again, there's probably there could even be 1 or 2 more in the tank just by taking that club further back.
There's a thumbnail for me, isn't it? Let's get a bit more.
Bit more, come on. So let's do a whole cycle then. First on the board, let's do the scale 1 to 10. That's a 1, that's a 10, that's a 10, that's a 10, yeah? Lifting as you did, go through that whole cycle.
Yeah.
Where was it at the start when you got back on that board again? What scale? On your scale?
Oh, my first one that I'd just done, probably a 7.
7, okay.
Whereas I was like 5 at the start.
So immediately you've already picked up, which is great, but then you needed to rate it. You know what 10 is. You're now already appreciating what is 10.
Yeah.
Great. So now really if I get you to come back, I'm going to put that there. Come back on here with driver so you stand there. So you do some swing round the clock. Get it round the clock. The sound effects. Sound effects. This is what we want. We're going to hear the screaming, the war cries of speed.
I don't want to put everyone off on the 9th hole.
Round the clock, far as you can. Rise up, drop down. Good. I'd say that because of this little drop that we've had, it would be, okay, we wanted to do the full circle again, just really for camera to understand what we did. We'd push it back up.
Do you think I'm done now? Is that where you're getting at?
I'm saying we're probably hitting this window at the moment.
I'm pushing the mat round, look.
But you ain't turned it round almost. Yeah, good.
That one was a little different.
Yeah. What did you feel different?
Because I feel like when I'm going up, I'm doing this too soon, I feel like. I don't feel like I'm going up.
So that means that will shorten your swing. When you go down, you're not allowing that final bit of stretch.
So that one I felt like I went up and then started to push rather than up and...
And you did do that on the one before because we'd built up to that.
Yeah.
So let those arms run and stretch and complete that downswing.
That's going to affect clubhead speed, that strike.
Yeah, but look.
Oh, yes.
So it was your right. You were just doing it a little, trying to get the press too early.
Too early, yeah.
Wasn't allowing that full stretch.
Yeah.
You were kind of lowering.
Yeah. And
beginning that, let it go. So I'd say you wasn't getting as light and as stretched as you could.
Yeah, like up here.
Stretch, let it complete, let it go all the way around the clock, let the arms travel back.
Yeah.
So the way my shoulders work, I can make my arms travel from my shoulders, not only vertically, but horizontally. You got to get that kind of big stretch in the shoulders and across the shoulder systems. Great. Wow. That one
is straight.
Was and so this is, and the good thing is here, if you was tracking this and writing this stuff down, in your mind you felt the difference from the fast one and when it slowed down. I don't feel like I'm quite, okay, yeah, we're bouncing this stuff off. Yeah? But it's not to just push the panic button.
Yeah.
It's just to stay in the process and the cycle. And this is what you get when you're with your coach. You do this with the coach and work through this, but not immediately just panic. Oh no, I must be doing something, I've got to change. No, just keep going.
Yeah.
And we worked it out. You felt it, absolutely. I saw it, you felt it, you communicated it. We did it, we worked back. And it was the stretch. You got to complete that stretch and allow that club to carry on going round before you begin the slam. So we get the highest point of the swing. And we just show this here then, so just take the screen back. So we got, I mean, from a strike perspective, it was a decent strike. You'll get it closer to the face if you carry on with speed and learn. If you did a ball speed session after, not today, but you worked on ball speed next week after doing another club speed session this week, later on in the week.
Yeah.
We'd bring the ball speed up. That would be the objective. But look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean,
straight.
Absolute stripe. And interestingly, you was hitting sort of your fast ones for fades.
Yeah.
And that was a draw. So from an attack and a release, we got that swing direction out.
Yeah.
And knowing that you must have that swing direction correct to start to net what the attack angle of the club is doing.
Yeah.
And the attack angle is so important for you because that's back to the dynamics at the start, what we talked about. When you start hitting down, you're changing the spin-off profile of what the ball is seeing. And we get it up, it's going to squeeze that spin-off a little bit so we don't get that spinny one that then, with its curve, is kind of spinning off.
Yes.
We don't want that. We've got to control that spin. And it's so, so important. So what you're doing is actually helping.
Yep.
Give yourself time. Do it enough, blend it with some performance.
Yep.
Take it to the course, prime yourself, get ready.
Yep.
I'd almost like, if I was standing in the crowd, I'd want to see, I would want to, in my eyes, know that you're going for the bomb. Yeah, I want to see you priming.
Yeah.
If you're standing there like...
Yeah, waiting for them to clear the green or whatever. Yeah, swinging fast and stuff,
Yeah, all these moves that we're doing, all of a sudden I'm doing that stepping, that intensity press drill.
Yeah.
Already just doing that, right, one of them. Yeah. Stand there, pick the shot, one of them.
Whack.
So that's in Kent.
What was interesting as well, just quickly, is that I nearly gave up again then.
Yeah.
And said that I feel like I'm done again. Twice I've said that, and twice I've got fast again.
So I think that
Which
there is that.
Very interesting.
Just push yours.
Yeah.
This would be Matt. Push your boundaries a little bit.
Yeah.
Because there is still a little bit more in the
giving
tank.
Up so easy.
Yeah. Just give it a little bit more, but. And then from here on, just get the appropriate sessions in at least twice a week.
Yeah.
And teach your body how to move faster with these new moves, working on that important vertical force move.
Awesome. 120. What do you reckon the target should be?
I think that really, I think you should set it for 123. And then push to possibly, if we said 125 was the ceiling, let's get to 123, then we get to 125. I think you probably do that over 3 or 4 weeks.
And then stock would be
would then be pulled up, since you were kind of 117, 110,
Yeah.
We had 120, which stock would move up to kind of 115. We went to 125, stock would be 117, 118.
Yeah. And that's...
So we're just pulling, because you have this top speed ceiling and then game speed that sits underneath.
Yeah.
So this speed reserve. So when we lift the top speed during the speed training, the game speed goes up.
Yeah.
And even if I was just to do a 1-ball test now, went back to stock, your stock would never fall back down to your 110 that you started with.
125.
125.
I'll message you when I've hit it.
We'll celebrate.
Thanks very much, Steve, for your time.
Good to see you, Matt.